Hey tennis fans, I'm Grace Carter and this is Tennis Now presented by Tennis Express. Get your favorite tennis gear at tennisexpress.com today. The 2024 tennis season was filled with milestones, some magic, some moving farewells, and an unexpected twist. Two top-ranked players failed doping tests, Jannik Sinner and Iga Swiatek. To see Grand Slam champions at the top of tennis test positive for banned substances within just a couple of months of each other, well, that's pretty stunning for the sport. To be clear, both Sinner and Swiatek have successfully argued that they were victims of contamination. As we tape today's news, the Sinner case still continues. The World Anti-Doping Agency has appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport the result of Sinner's doping case. WADA is seeking a suspension of between 1 and 2 years for Sinner, who tested positive for trace amounts of the banned steroid clostebol. WADA maintains the finding of no fault or negligence is not correct under the applicable rules. We continue to follow that case. Now, the fact that both Sinner and Swiatek continued to play as their cases were being investigated has angered some fans because of what happened to former world number one Simona Halep. It was very different. And now a furious Halep has started speaking out, slamming authorities for what she calls a double standard. She blasted the International Tennis Integrity Agency, saying the organization has done everything to destroy her despite the evidence. You can check out that social media post on her Instagram. She's very angry. Halep has lost basically 2 years of her career, and she's been through hell. The question is why? Why treat Simona Halep differently than Sinner and Swiatek? Now here's a refresher on Halep's case. She tested positive for trace amounts of the banned substance roxadustat. Though Simona argued she was unknowingly contaminated through a supplement, she was initially hit with a 4-year ban. She successfully appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport and won a reduced suspension down to 9 months. That happened last spring. Simona returned to the tour at the Miami Open last March, but damage to her career had already been done. Halep is incensed that Swiatek's explanation of her positive test caused by contamination was accepted and hers was not, asking, how is it possible that in identical cases which happened around the same time, the ITIA has completely two different approaches? How can I accept that, says Halep. In Iga's case, the WTA issued a supportive statement almost immediately, whereas Simona feels the WTA was not nearly as supportive in her case. The Court of Arbitration for Sport ruled Halep's contamination was unintentional and caused by a contaminated supplement, and added the tour should reinstate her ranking. That didn't happen. So what gives here? Should the WTA and ITIA acknowledge the double standard in these cases? Each doping violation is judged independently, of course, and while these cases were ultimately found to have been at no significant fault, they tested positive for 2 different substances. What we always say is players must be responsible for anything that enters their system, knowingly or unknowingly, and therefore neither Simona nor Iga should receive any ranking protection since both failed doping tests. So we're going to hand this one over to you. It's a lot of information, but do you believe the game's governing bodies have betrayed Simona Halep? Should the governing bodies be more transparent on doping cases? For example, does the public deserve to know if a player failed a doping test, even if that player is appealing? There's some complicated issues at play here, and we would like to hear your comments in our comment section, so feel free to sound off. I'm Grace Carter. We'll see you next time.